Hello, my name is Shadia Musa and welcome to the Bowie Youth Showcase. Today we will introduce you to one of Prince George's County's most unique and exciting best-kept secrets, a Saturday children's art program for children ages 5 to 17. Art allows children of all ethnic groups to refine cognitive and creative skills. Children's art also allows kids to express how they feel and at the same time feel a great sense of accomplishment and confidence. Studies have even shown that over half of students who participate in art education do better in subjects such as English. With these benefits and facts in mind, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show as we have Rosa Jackson and one of her students, Kimberlie Giliam, of Regal Solutions Children's Art Studio. She will discuss her evolution through art. We'll be right back with our guests. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We have with us Rosa Jackson. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you for having me.
Rosa Jackson has worked in the federal government for numerous years and as an art director for nearly 10 years, receiving a master's certificate in project management from George Washington University. She previously served as president of the board of directors for the Census Bureau. Welcome. So when did you realize that art would be a part of your life?
Wow. When did I realize art would be part of my life? When my mother came into my bedroom right after high school graduation, and she was like, "Rosemary, you're done with high school, so what are you going to do now?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And she said, "Well, you always wanted to be a teacher, and you're wonderful in art, so why don't you be an art teacher?" So I was like, okay. So I went on to study art at St. Augustine's College in Raleigh, North Carolina, and here I am.
So is there anyone in particular who's influenced your artwork in any way?
I would say my professor at St. Aug, Dr. Howard Burchett. He loved oils, and although he taught us all medias, I kind of fell in love with oils and the way that they blend together on the canvas. I guess every artist have their favorite, and that just happened to be my favorite.
So is there one particular painting that's, stuck with you the most?
Wow. All my paintings I love, and I love red, so you see a lot of red in my paintings. I would say around 9/11, around the Iraqi war. I had relatives in the Marines, Army, Navy, and I kind of did that painting as to honor the fallen soldiers after reading Dan Rather's books and his reporting. But the one that I had a lot of fun doing was the one called The Coneflower and the Bee. There I kind of experimented with some knife painting technique using the knife. And I love the colors in it, and it's my favorite flower.
So what was happening inside of you when you were painting these paintings?
Well, art kind of relaxes me. I have a pretty taxing day at work and being a mom and with school and all these activities. At the end of the day, if I'm not walking, then painting and blasting the music kind of unwinds me. So it relaxes me.
Well, I understand that you've given away a lot of your artwork. Now, how does it feel to give away something that you worked so hard on?
I have given away several original oil paintings, but they were given to some very dear friends of mine, and whenever I relocate back to North Carolina, I know that my paintings are here in Maryland and they're in good hands, and a couple of them have said that they will hand them down to my grandson, in years to come. So.
Well, I understand that some of your own students come from various ethnic groups. So can you tell us why art is so important in this culture?
Wow. Well, wow, the good Lord made this earth with so many natural beauties in the trees and the flowers and everything else. Art is so much a part of our lives. It's in the clothes we wear, it's in our homes and the way we decorate them, it's in landscaping. It's just everywhere. It's in our schools, it's in on our jobs when we do brochures and things. You can't get away from art. It's in fashion, it's just everywhere. And all the cultures bring their own unique design to the canvas. I've learned from working with children from the South America. They kind of add like symbols and geographic things in their paintings. And my South Asian students, they paint pretty small. It's hard to get them to use the large canvas, so they make tiny brush strokes and things like that. But art kind of brings us all together, regardless of the culture. We love art. Does something to us to stimulate our mind and make us feel good. So, and sometimes it could be like a meeting place between cultures. So
That's really interesting. All right, well, I understand you're working on a series of books. Now, I know you're having someone else illustrate them. Why is that?
Well, like I said earlier, art is so broad. There's so many disciplines. Like there's pen and inks, and there's watercolors, and there's acrylics, and oils on canvas, and there's sculptures, and I'm not good at all of them. So it was just feasible to let the expert in illustrating children's books do that for me. Maybe when I'm not working a full-time job and can have time to do that, maybe the next series of children's books I will illustrate myself.
Okay.
But I'm learning from this illustrator. It's been really cool seeing how that whole process works.
That's really interesting. Well, you have a long career as a creator and a teacher and even an author. So where do you think you'll take your art in the next 5 years?
Oh, well, in the next 5 years, I'll putting the paintbrush down. Kimberlie might not let me, but I do really want to push the children's books out there. They're just great stories, and they're for everyone, regardless of the age or culture. So I just kind of want to do that and be a grandma.
Well, I understand that you come from a very, very large family. So, are there anyone else in your family that is interested in art too?
Well, let me tell you, there's 9 of us.
Wow.
Mom and Dad, that makes 10, 11. And Mom and Dad were very creative. My mother would make all our clothes growing up. If we had plays and things like that, she would make our skirts and things like that. My dad's very creative with his hands. All my siblings, I'm in the middle of 9, so there's 4 older than me. And like most kids, we want to do what our older kids do. So if they were drawing or making things, then I wanted to do that too. But we each have our own strengths in our own areas of art. They're all just phenomenal artists to me, and we just had fun growing up. We made our doll babies, and we had playhouses, out in the woods, because we grew up on a big farm. So we had a lot of fun being creative as young artists coming up.
So art's been prominent throughout your entire life.
Yeah, can't get away from it.
All right, well, thank you so far. All right, don't go anywhere. We have so much more to cover. When we return, we'll talk about the origins of Regal Solutions.
I'm Audrey.
I'm Abby.
I saved Audrey from drowning right here in this pool.
I was 5.
I was 4.
And thank goodness for Abby, she just reached in and pulled me up.
I'll never forget the two little hands connecting.
That was Abby's little hand.
We learned a technique in swim class that the Red Cross did. If I hadn't learned aquatic safety from the Red Cross, I wouldn't have been able to save my friend that day.
I'm very grateful.
Welcome back. Here with us, we have one of Miss Jackson's students, Miss Kimberlie Giliam, and she's going to be drawing for us throughout the show. All right, so Miss Jackson, what influenced you to open Regal Studios? Or Regal Solutions, I'm sorry.
Well, believe it or not, at the beginning, Regal Solutions was designed to be a consulting company for caregivers. Seeing like at work and outside of work, I was running into friends who were now taking care of their aging parents, and they were really being burdened with that responsibility and needed help. And I thought I could be a consultant for them and get other family members to help them. So, and I needed a part-time job, so I thought I would, you know, be my own boss. And I found the Women's Business Center, and I called that number, and they assigned me to the nearest Women's Business Institute, which was at the College of Southern Maryland in La Plata. And so one of the first activities the counselor did with me was have me list all my like strengths or interests and things like that, and I started listing all my professional stuff, like, you know, I'm a project manager, I do team building and facilitation and all that stuff. So I had all this list of things that I did, you know, in my career at the Census Bureau. And the very last thing I put down was art, because I hadn't touched the brush in like 20 years. Anyway, so I did all that. The Women's Business Institute kind of sends you to a CPA, and I wanted to open the business the right way. It seemed like when I moved to the area, a lot of people had businesses, and they just kind of did a business card and, hey, I'm a business. But I wanted to do it the right way, so they walked me through my business plan. They sent me to a business attorney. They sent me to a CPA, and at the very end, we started talking about the monies, and it was like I needed like $150K to open this consulting business, but I was at the time also getting ready to buy a new home. It was being built, so it's like, okay, Rosemary, you're buying this home and you're opening a business. How are you going to pay the money back for this company? So I had did all the lab work for Regal Solutions, and I said, okay, I got to come up with a plan B. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll open a children's art studio. I said, but I hadn't painted in like 20 years, so I was like, okay, I got to get back on the canvas and paint something so the parents know that I at least know what I'm doing. So that's kind of how Regal Solutions Children's Art Studio kind of evolved.
Wow, that's really interesting. Well, how did you come up with the name Regal Solutions?
Well, at the time, my professional side of me, I worked in the office with some wonderful ladies, and there was Laura, and we call her Lovely Laura, and then there was Kelly, so we call her Kid Glove Kelly. So they came up with personality names for our first letter of our name. And so when they got to mine, they was like, well, you're just so regal. So I became Regal Rosemary. Wow. And while doing the business plan, I was like, okay, we'd have to come up with a name for the company. And no one else could think of anything, so it just stayed, Regal Solutions.
Well, how did you establish the educational art program for children?
The Women's Business Institute had you do market research or see who your competitors were. and at the time, there was not a children's art studio in southern Prince George's County. I went to D.C. and looked at their children's art program for the weekend. There was also one in Rockville, so you either went to Rockville or you went to D.C. Even though the county had some art activities in their program. So I looked at what the Prince George's school systems were teaching and read some of the books from way back when and kind of looked at my program and tried to make it better than what I was seeing out there.
Okay, so personally, what do you think are the benefits to children's art education?
It makes them more confident. Kids that maybe not doing well in science and math in school, and maybe they don't get awards and things like that, and they see there are other kids, you know, excelling in those areas. In my program, we had children's art exhibit at the end of the year, so they got to display all their artwork and invite their parents and grandparents in, and I gave them awards. You know, they all got the Great Artist Award, they got Most Improved Awards, and they just really want to show off their talents to their parents, and they want to feel, art makes them feel good. So.
Right, yeah. All right, so what has been the highlight of the children's art program for the past 10 years for you?
Whew, the 10 years went by fast. The highlight for me is seeing children grow and use art to make friends at new schools. Some of my really talented kids, you know, who may be shy, they kind of bring out their artwork and they make friends. Other kids see how phenomenal they are on the, you know, on the drawing pads, and they make friends that way. I had another student who opened the first art club at I think one of the high schools. So it's just nice to hear what they're doing in art.
Right, well, I know this marks the 10 years of your company, so how does that feel for you? It's a giant step.
I really did not think about the 10 years until I was invited on this show.
Wow.
And I was like, in pulling all the pictures and drawings and things together, I was like, wow, it's been a little over 10 years. So it's really, really exciting, and I'm so thankful to be here on the show and to showcase one of my talented students. I had several talented students. Kimberlie would not let me get away. And she's just a phenomenal artist, and she does things that I can't do.
Wow.
Her first few years of communicating with her parents was on the canvas or the pad. And she just continues to just blow me away with her artwork. She always said she wanted to be famous, so this is her night to shine, and I'm so proud of her.
Wow, that's really great. Well, what do you think is going to be the future of the art program?
Like I said a little earlier, I'm hoping Kimberlie let me put it down for a minute, and once I get the books published, hopefully can come back on the show. We have our book release party here. I would like to kind of really just work on the books and the storyline behind the books, or about children who have some disabilities or some abnormalities, and they find out, and even grown-ups find out later that we have some things that's not quite right going on with us. So I would really like to just do some book signings, meet some more wonderful, talented kids and parents out there in the community.
All right, well, can you talk a little bit more about the books that you're doing?
The books are kind of centered around my grandson who has a missing rib. So one shoulder's a little higher than the other, but he does, everything is normal. He's just a typical little, he'll be almost 2 years old in March. But, and he's not aware of this, but I kind of wanted to leave the books with him because I know when he gets to school, there'd be some things said, and I want him to always feel good about himself. And others, parents reading the manuscripts just think the books are just wonderful. He's in search for his missing rib, and he thinks Grandma Rosa has all the answers, so he travels through several states. So the books are very educational, they're inspirational, they are funny, there are surprises at the end of each book, so you got to get all three. And Kimberlie and I happened to meet Sugar Ray Leonard at one of his brother's book signings. And so in the books, Carter said, well, I want to grow up to be a judge or a 007 or maybe a boxer like Sugar Ray Leonard. And so, and some of the people reading my manuscript said, well, you know, you used this name in the book, you got to get his permission. So because Kimberlie and I had met him, we were on his mailing list, and we reached out to his management company, and we told them we were coming on the show, and they read the manuscript and loved it and loved what we were all about and doing, and told us to stay in touch with them. And it's been really a blessing, and I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to share with the world Kimberlie's works, the children's works as they see them on the screen, and then my works, of course, span like 35 years. Telling my age, but I don't care. Anyway, I love art. I love children.
Was there anything else you might have done better with the program or with the fine arts or with the books even?
It's a lot to having a company. I kind of wished I had an assistant of some sort to do a lot of the detailed stuff, because I kind of need like 3 or 4 of me to be a professional, to be a mom, to be an art director, all that.
So what have you learned with working with children in art?
One thing I learned was, you know, when we had them all together, they get busy doing projects, but when I bring out the paints, they all get quiet. And it calms them down. And Kimberlie loves to paint, and I love to paint. It's just calming. You know, when you put the red on the canvas and the blue and the green, it's just a wonderful feeling, especially if you're a natural lover of colors and art.
Well, no, I know the current economy is horrible, so did that affect your program in any way?
Well, originally, because this is a Saturday-only program, and as someone new to the business, you know, I thought I could open like a studio here and a studio there and all that. Then I realized, okay, I'm competing with Saturday track, cheerleading, football, all those other children activities. So you kind of have to get realistic about the economy and what's going on. I know a lot of art galleries have closed, a lot of artists, local artists that I once knew and helped me get my fine art collection up and going. You know, they are not in existence anymore. Or they have had to be creative and look at the economy and see how best to sell their products and be out there as an artist. So the economy has affected everyone, I believe.
Right, so for you personally, do you think you're going to continue with art yourself? You're going to continue drawing and continue painting?
Art is so much a part of me, and whether it's in fashion or photography. I love photography, I love fitness, I love being outdoors. I don't think I'll get away from it. My grandson's going to be coming up through the school system soon, and I'm sure he'll have some projects that I can help him with. So it's not going anywhere.
All right, well, thank you so very much. It was very nice talking to you. Well, so now we're going to talk to Kimberlie. Hi, Kimberlie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So what are you drawing for us today?
I joined some kids in the library.
Okay, wow, that's really good. You did that all, wow. I wish I could do that.
Quickly.
I know, so quickly. Well, so why have you continued to come to the art program on Saturdays?
Say again?
Why do you continue to come to the art programs on Saturdays? Why do you like going to the program on Saturdays?
Well, because Miss Jackson teach me a lot, and she teach me how to draw better, and sometimes she teach me how to paint the background first.
Okay, so do you really like painting and drawing and stuff?
Yes.
All right, so what's your favorite part? Do you like drawing or painting or sculpting?
I like painting and sculpting.
Sculpting?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. All right, so who has influenced you most in the arts? Do you have a specific person?
No.
Not really?
No.
Can you think of anybody that you think has maybe influenced your artwork a little bit? How about Miss Rose here?
Yes.
Yes. Wow, you are very, very talented. So how does it feel right now to be on TV? Is it really cool?
Yes, it feels excited.
You're excited?
Yes.
All right, so can you tell us your favorite drawing?
I like to draw lots of people, and I like to draw their faces and their eyes and stuff, and I really like to draw some trees and some buildings, and sometimes I like draw a whole city.
Do you like using color a lot in your drawing?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, do you why do you like painting faces and trees and so much? Are you really good at them?
Yes. It's very interesting to do.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Have you been in many art museums?
Not that much, but some.
Would you like to go to a lot more when you get older, maybe?
Yes.
All right, that's really, really interesting. Well, thank you so much, Kimberlie. All right, we would like to thank Miss Rose and Kimberlie for sharing their journey with us today. And we wish Regal Solutions all the best with their future endeavors. And to our viewers, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to seeing you next time here with us at the Bowie Youth Showcase. Thank you guys so much. Thank you,
so
Kimberlie.
much.